Hey y'all, I'm Sarah Self-Walbrick, the news director at the Hub at Texas Tech. In this installment of our interview with Chancellor Robert Duncan, we're going to talk about his political life. And then you also went to law school here at Texas Tech. What made you choose to attend law school?
Well, that's a long story, but to make it short, I really had studied to be a production agriculturalist, a farmer. And when I graduated in 1976, the farm economy was in a deep recession and double-digit interest rates. And so a young guy like me couldn't get into, just couldn't get into it feasibly. So I used my ag eco farm management training to know that I wasn't going to be able to make it work, and so I went to Plan B, and Plan B was law school. And I never really dreamed I would go to law school, never planned, but once I'd done some of the political things and had some success in the student government and had made relationships with friends that were, headed in that area, I thought, well, I'll take the test and see if I can get in. Fortunately, I did.
Explain to us what you did in between graduating law school and entering the political arena.
Practiced law.
Yeah.
It's the best experience I've ever had. I represented insurance companies and businesses, and other people learned a lot about the complexity of issues and how to deal with complex fact situations and legal situations. And so it led me to, I think, help me develop a political career.
Perfect. Now, kind of explain to us your political career. You were involved in numerous committees and stuff like that, so give our viewers a brief example of some of those.
Well, I first started, John Monford, who was the first chancellor at Texas Tech, invited me to take a leave of absence from my law firm to come down and help reform the Texas workers' compensation laws in the state of Texas, and that was in 1989. So I did that, and I worked for then Senator Monford for a year, and then after that a position came open, and I talked to him. He encouraged me to run for the office. My law firm said I could do that, so I ran for the House of Representatives, won that seat, and I was there 2 years, and then the Tech Board of Regents created the system of chancellor, and the very first chancellor that they appointed was John Monford. So that left an opening in the Senate, and so I ran for that Senate position and won that in 1996 and stayed in that position until I took this job.
What are some successes that you're proud of during your political career?
Well, there's a lot. We were very involved in tort reform at a time when businesses and physicians were fleeing the state because of a runaway legal system, and so I played a major role in drafting and negotiating the tort reforms that have occurred in this state that I think have brought Texas back and made us more competitive than other states. I did some issues along the line of DNA evidence and the ability to exonerate persons who are wrongfully convicted and to adequately compensate those folks that we wrongfully convicted, kept in prison for several years for their deprivation of liberty, such as the Tim Cole Act and other, and then more recently the legislation we did last session to try to provide prosecutors with more guidance on types of how to produce exculpatory evidence, which is a key thing. And so those types of legislation were very important. And we also did a lot of work in natural resources, including determining the ownership issues for water, which is a big thing out here.
Oh, of course.
And then boll weevil eradication and other things. We were kind of all over the board, from criminal justice to agriculture to tort reform to health insurance reform, as well as retirement and pension systems. So we worked a lot in those areas over the years, and I think achieved quite a bit in those areas.
As chancellor, you still have to deal with politicians and politics in another way. So kind of explain how your position in the political world has changed.
Well, I'm on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm asking instead of kind of doing those things, but it'll be different. I have good relationships with people, and I think they trust me that if I'm asking for something, it'll be sincere and it's something that the university really needs. One of the theories that we always had in higher education legislation was to rise all boats. And so I think we gained a lot of credibility, at least in my office in the Senate, as well as Texas Tech, when we basically would support legislation that not only helped TAC, but also helped all of the institutions, and that's like formula funding for all, increasing formula funding, creating research programs that everyone has an opportunity to benefit from, and financial aid that certainly helps all of the students who, especially those who do not have the ability to have access to higher education, but for the financial aid. So those sorts of things, when we worked on those, I think gave us credibility, and I hope to bring that same credibility to the Senate and House whenever we start talking about appropriations and also policy for higher education.
Throughout your political career, you had numerous students from Texas Tech intern with your office. Just some examples, Drew DeBerry, who I talked to when you were first announced as Chancellor, interned with you back in 1999. He's now the Deputy Commissioner of the Texas Department of Agriculture. He had nothing but good things to say about you and said that without you, he would not have considered a political career. So you definitely influenced him. And then former Hub member Evan Dixon also interned with you for a few years. Because of that, he was able to get an internship at NBC's Meet the Press. Why do you think it's important for students to take opportunities like that?
Well, because it gives you a real-world experience, and good internship programs do that. They expose you to opportunities, and if you're mature enough and smart enough to take advantage of them, then you'll go far. And just like Drew and Brandon Lips with us, Katie, Joe Yates, several people that I think of as we go through that came to our office through the Ag internship program. And so they've all done very well over the years, and it's been exciting to see them advance their careers to very high levels, working in Congress or working with Drew. He went all the way to the Secretary of Agriculture's office and was the White House liaison. So when I tried to hire him back, he said, well, look, I go to the Oval Office every day. I don't know if going back to the Texas Capitol will be quite the same thing.
Exactly.
But, so it's neat to see those young people get a start and get a taste for politics, and then advance to where they did, where they have. And I think all of our guys have actually done very well for themselves after they've left our office.